Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts like the chart behind me, which is of Tilray Brands, ticker symbol TLRY. And so I am recording this on the morning of Tuesday, October 1st, before the market opens, after Tilray closed yesterday, the month of September, at a price of $1.76, being up about 1% on the day. And so, yeah, I wanted to go over the chart here because it was pointed out to me during Sunday night's live stream, or, I realized that it does look like it could be setting up for a breakout. And I do think there are some nice levels to the downside that can serve as, levels to get out, stop loss, avoid any risk of going lower if the pattern does fail. So yeah, I just wanted to go over all of that. And I also wanted to go over one thing that it does look like earnings are coming up on the 10th. And so this was released yesterday on September 30th. So they should be having that call on the 10th. So I would look forward to that. And then we can, see how the chart responds to their earnings. But yeah, so I just wanted to dive into this. I haven't really looked at Tilray in a long time. Sorry, I've been kind of quiet. But yeah, I just think that it's at a great place. And so one thing that I had previously talked about in videos is this yellow line that's here. Kind of goes back to, an arbitrary point back here, but this being at the price of $1.70. It does seem like throughout time we have kind of bounced from right around that level, having held as support. And it does seem like it has been, a great dip buying level, a nice level to accumulate below, because then we see, these nice rallies following that, going up 20 to about 30% there. And so, yeah, I think that's a really good dip buying level. We were previously testing it. And yeah, so I think that there is some support down there, even if we break below it. I think that it has held up as a nice approximate level, or, having fun with it. 169, always fun to buy the dip there. But anyways, there are some other levels to the downside. One coinciding currently right around with that level of 170 is this purple uptrend. And so that is based on the low from June 21st of 2023, that being at a price of $1.50, and then the other pivot point being here, which was the low from March 14th of this year. And so we have that pivot point. Also from that, we do have this white uptrend that extends there, with the other pivot point being the low from April 22nd. And so with those pivot points, we can see that there is some support here for that purple uptrend. And that does coincide approximately with 170. So that does seem like it is the approximate base of this wedge that we have formed here. And then moving to the upside, we do have this downtrend here based on the high from July 30th, coming down to the pivot high from September 17th. And it looks like just yesterday on the 30th, we did get a fake out break from that level, but we did get rejected. We did pull back to right around the prices that we were seeing on the 27th, so last Friday. And so when I was doing that stream, when I was looking at that candle on Sunday evening, what I was thinking is that, dang it, price is above 170. I kind of like that level, but, if price does hang out around here, I could see this being a nice level to add at, thinking that it might be breaking out from this downtrend. But if it doesn't, if I'm wrong, if it does, if we do get a fake out like this and it does roll over, I think that this low from September 6th, which was at a price of $1.62, I got it marked here in red. I feel like that's a nice stop loss level, because if it does break that level, we got 150 down here, and maybe that's a good level to reestablish a position if we do break 162. And so, maybe we get a fake out break below that, just like we saw a fake out breakout here. So maybe like 160 is a good stop loss level in my view. And so I should note, I personally don't have shares in Tilray anymore, but I did get a call yesterday because I thought, it might be breaking out here, and I could see price getting up to, around $2 a share. Not only is there a gap up there at $1.99, if we do take a step back, there are other gaps to the upside, one at 247, one at 259. So I think that there is a lot of upside potential for this. And so getting a call with the later expiration date, I'll go over that in a minute, seems pretty reasonable, especially if we are getting out from this downtrend. But now that we've pulled back, I could see, I haven't done this yet, but I could see establishing a small position at this price with the expectation of it breaking out, heading up to at least fill this gap at 199. But if it does roll over, if this is a fake out that persists and we don't see a continuation to the upside beyond that downtrend before or after the 10th, then, I could see it breaking down and 160, right around 160 being a good stop loss level, and then maybe reevaluate at 150. And maybe that will be selling at the lows, but that is a way to manage risk. So, from current price coming down to 162, or let's say, right around 160, that's less than a 10% drop to the downside. So, managing some risk there, and then getting up to $2, that's more than a 10% swing to the upside. The risk is, about 10%. The upside potential is at least 13% in my view. So I feel like, it could be better, but I think that price could be going beyond $2 a share. So I think that upside reward is actually greater than 13%, especially if one accumulates more at 170, as I do think that is a very nice level. And we have been forming, if I get the Ray tool, from this low of 150. It does look like we have broken below this uptrend a little bit. Currently, we're respecting it. And even if we do go a little bit lower, if I connect it to the low over here from September 26th, we're still forming higher lows. So that does suggest that there is some strength there, especially with this downtrend that we are testing that we might be breaking out from. And if we do break out from that level, I haven't really talked about these uptrends here. I did mention the white one earlier, but also that orange one. Those are right around the same level, right around 180, 190, somewhere in that range. If we do take a step back, I did mention that white uptrend there, that confluence there. I do think there is going to be a good amount of resistance just below 199. But if we do look at this orange uptrend, that is also based on the low from June 21st with a pivot low over here being from November 13th of 2023. And so that is how we get those two uptrends that do look like they could be acting as resistance here. But, I think that there's enough support to the downside that this does seem like a really good play with some nice targets like $2 and beyond to the upside. And so, if we get past this 199, that could represent, let's see, about almost a 50% move to the upside if we fill all of those gaps. So I feel like that looks really nice. But so one thing that I did want to go over is a little bit of options data from Unusual Whales. So if I pull that up, I got to here by searching Tilray brands, doing a ticker overview. And so that is just from the menu on the sidelines here. We can see going through that ticker explorer, I'm just going to an overview looking at Tilray brands, ticker symbol TLRY. For yesterday, September 30th, because I am looking at this in the pre-market on the 1st. There's no data for today yet, but this is the premium traded yesterday on the 30th. And so one thing might stand out to you, it's very, very green. Lots of volume traded on the call side. And so we can see here the volume of calls traded. 70,000, a lot of contracts traded there. Whereas if we look at the puts, not even 5,000. So it does seem like there is an overall bullish sentiment. You can't see it because it's right behind me, but if I remove myself, we can see here that overall it is bullish sentiment. So, that does seem really good. So we have total premium for Tilray, all of the contracts, we're considering all of them. Total amount of premium traded yesterday, $837,000, so almost $1 million. So a lot of money, especially for a stock trading at less than $2 a share. So I think that's pretty impressive. And then the net premium was an increase of 200,000. So, I think this looks really, really good. And so this is looking at the options volume. But if I do switch this over to the net premium, we can see that, the put premium in red here has been more or less flat and or going a little bit negative there, whereas the call premium has spiked. It has gone up. And so that does suggest, it's like the trend is your friend. The trend right now is call premium is increasing. Even as the price in Tilray has declined a little bit, that call premium has been going up. So that does suggest to me that there is some upside potential and that the majority are leaning towards this going higher. Maybe they're wrong, maybe that's following the sheep, but it does seem, like there's a lot of money behind this going higher. And so if I do look over at the hot contracts for Tilray that were traded on the 30th, the thing that stands out to me is the majority of them up here are calls. And for the most part, those are all in the favor of the bulls. So the majority on the ask side here in green. And so that means that the majority are buyers of these calls, while the minority are sellers. That means either they're taking profits or they think that it's going down. So they're selling those calls because they think it's going down. And so I think that this looks really, really good. And so the contract that I decided to participate in, I only got one contract, still getting a feel for trading contracts. But I do think it is a nice way to trade because there is an expiration associated with it. So it prevents me from diamond handing, holding forever, holding through losses, whatnot. This has an expiration. And so the contract that stood out to me, as you can see, all of these are the $2 strike calls. The one that stood out to me, for me personally, I don't like going a week out or less than a week out. That's just a little too risky for me. So I looked at the contract with the expiration of November 15th. And so we can look at that here. This is the data from the 30th. And so we can see that there's this pretty massive candle here that looks like, it's premium traded of around 11,000. And so you have to take into consideration that 10,000 is by definition a YOLO on Wall Street bets. So this could be, a little bit of a gamble, but looking at all of this data here, and with that contract, it not being the most volume traded yesterday, it's not the most exciting contract because there's 45 days till expiration, but that gives a lot of wiggle room if in case Tilray does come down following earnings. Maybe it pulls down to 160. Maybe that's a stop loss level for shares, but maybe that is an accumulation, a buy the dip level for these calls with a month being out. Let's see, November 15th is right around here. And so with that being said, if we're still holding this uptrend, these at that time at around November 15th, we might not only still be above this uptrend, but we might be above these other two uptrends and getting to that gap. So I think that seems really feasible. And looking at the overview over here, just looking at this options volume, considering the 5-minute candles here, we can see so much premium traded, 70,000 contracts with the majority calls. And with that net premium being up 200,000, considering the total premium being over 800,000, this does seem very, very bullish to me. And so I think that this fake out that we saw, that we could not break above this level, I think that's just giving us a little bit more time before earnings on the 10th to be accumulating. And I think that Tilray is going to be breaking out. I think that the price will be getting up to and perhaps beyond $2 a share before November 15th. So I think that, this just looks like it's a really, really good risk to reward scenario with a stop loss level right around 160. Maybe that's cutting losses at the bottom, but I think it's good to manage risk in that respect in case it does go lower, like to 150. But I think The signs are suggesting, in my view, that just like looking at the MACD here, we're in the green. It does look like there could be another hump there, that the RSI right around 50, right around neutral, that does look like it is trending towards the overbought territory. We are not there yet. That would be getting to 70 in the RSI. So I think that this is winding up to be breaking out to getting to $2 a share way before November 15th. So I think that could be a really nice contract to be swinging. And one thing that I forgot to mention that I should probably mention, if I do look at that contract, the premium, the average premium traded yesterday was around 12 cents. But if I do look at that contract over here, it does look like it closed around 13 cents, and I can actually pull that up in Webull. If I look at options here, look at the calls, not for October 4th, but if I look at the expiration of November 15th, we can see that the $2 strike for November 15th, a buy for that contract is around 14 cents, which translates to $14 per contract. So, picking this up at 14 cents, that's actually the average that I got for my one contract. 14 cents, that is the level right now. So, I think that's, a worthy risk of $14 and potential, if testing these levels to get that average down before we see a rip to $2 before November 15th. I suspect either leading up to or after earnings. So I think that it looks like just great potential here with Tilray over the course of the next month and a half. But those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching, you guys. Take care.